Bombshell news out of Washington, D.C. that is breaking just this morning. New evidence has surfaced that is going to prove, once and for all, that the Epstein files is a hoax perpetuated by Democrats. I can't even. Holy Moses, you can't even say it with a straight face. How does he do it? Well, every day the Epstein scandal grows, and every time it does, the cause is either Trump losing it, like he did again last night, or Pam Bondi pulling yet another bonehead move that just screams cover-up, which, of course, she just did. Well, Adam Schiff and Senate Democrats have had enough. They just put Bondi on formal notice that her latest round of firings is questionable at best and most likely illegal. As I'll detail in a moment, this formal notice can serve as a preliminary step to a full-fledged investigation of the ill-equipped and out-of-her-league Bondi. But given her latest missteps, as well as Trump's, you almost wish that Schiff and the Democrats would just step aside and let Bondi and Trump sail the SS Epstein right into the approaching iceberg. Just last night, someone let Grampy go off his meds and start airing his grievances to anyone who would listen.
I think they could look at all of it. It's all the same scam. They could look at this Jeffrey Epstein hoax also. So frankly, I think I love that they're looking at all this stuff. If they are, I hope they are.
So now the Epstein scandal that Trump campaigned on is just a hoax put out by Democrats. And Trump has been running with this for days now, but it's getting no traction, even though he hints that James Comey and others cooked this up. But even if Trump's rambling conspiracy theory was getting traction, he just got taken out at the knees by Pam Bondi, who fired the career prosecutor who prosecuted both Epstein and Maxwell. Oh, like that doesn't look like you're covering things up. Bondi is way too stupid to know what the Saturday Night Massacre is, and she's far too busy making her own to find out. Because before Bondi could fire the career prosecutor, she had to fire another DOJ lawyer to pave the way. And that is where Schiff and the Democrats come in. But first, who is the career prosecutor who put Epstein behind bars? Well, as coincidence would have it, her name is Moren Comey, and yes, the reason the name sounds familiar is because she's James Comey's daughter. So listen to what Schiff had to say about this firing before I go into the details about his formal notice to Bondi.
None of this is good news for the Trump administration or the American people, for that matter, because either she was fired because she's James Comey's daughter, which would be totally inappropriate and a wrongful termination, or she was fired because she was prosecuting Epstein and his accomplices. And why would they fire her over that? And why would they fire her now? So none of this makes any sense.
So Schiff underscores what a totally bad move getting rid of Moren Comey is in terms of trying to make the Epstein scandal go away. But actually, he touched on something just as significant, that the firing is illegal any way you come at it and opens the federal government up to a wrongful termination lawsuit. But in order to fire Comey, Bondi had to fire another lawyer first, and that is what has prompted Schiff to start taking steps for an investigation. Because on July 11th, Bondi fired Joseph Terrell, the ethics director for the DOJ, and even that came on the heels of reassigning other DOJ personnel responsible for overseeing DOJ employee conduct. In other words, Bondi wants DOJ operating without having to worry about legal ethics. She had to get rid of Terrell before she could fire Comey. So Schiff and 5 other Democratic senators sent Bondi a letter on Wednesday warning her that she's created a dangerous vacuum in ethics expertise at a time when the department and its officials face unprecedented ethical challenges. In other words, we know you're destroying Epstein files. But here's the best part of the letter, because Bondi was so painfully unqualified to serve as Attorney General that Senate Democrats made her promise during confirmation hearings that she would seek the advice of career ethics officials within the DOJ. Since she is now clearly not doing that, Schiff's letter asks her to reconcile firing Terrell with the promises she made under oath. Translation: if we go forward with an investigation, perjury will be on the table. But that's not all. The letter also states that The firing is particularly egregious because the veteran career attorney received no explanation for his abrupt removal. Translation: firing without cause is a great way to run into legal trouble. And as for Terrell, the career employee didn't exactly take it lying down. He posted her letter terminating his employment on his LinkedIn page. Now, under normal circumstances, a letter from the ranking minority member is barely a threat, but these are not normal times. Several Republicans want to get to the bottom of the Epstein scandal before it costs them their careers. So the potential is high that they would vote with Democrats for a full-on investigation. That means subpoena power for files, many of which have already been disposed of. You can bet on that. And then we're off to the races on full-blown cover-up. And once you get to that threshold, impeachment is waiting in the West Wings. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.